What's going on, guys?
What's
My name is Nick
up?
Valley.
My name is Jonah Doc and I.
And this is
we're Rev Rock Revolution!
And we are not Kiss, but that is what we are going to be talking about today. How have you been, Jonah?
I've been doing really good, working on a lot of stuff, getting ready for 2024.
All right.
How about you, Nick?
Oh my God, it's crazy. Yeah, pretty much the same, just like prepping and getting ready to dive into the new year. But speaking of being ready to dive in, I don't know about you. I feel like I just want to. I'm so excited about this topic today. I feel like we should just get right into it.
Yeah, let's get straight into it, because we're talking about a band that we swore to never talk about on this podcast.
We vowed that we would never, because the second episode, yes, you're hearing that correctly, the second episode of our show
Of season
was
one.
entirely about this band. And so we promised ourselves that we would never talk about them again, but they are mighty and they are too great not to. And something very significant, two very significant things have happened with them. And on the same night, a couple days ago, the filming of this episode is December 4th, and Kiss is the band that we are referring to.
Yes.
Their final shows took place on December 1st and 2nd at Madison Square Garden. I bought the pay-per-view and I tuned in and I watched their concert, and then I was there at the end when they made their special announcement. Now, here's the thing. Shows were awesome. They're great. Obviously, I love Paul and Gene, and Tommy and Eric are great too, and, you know, not throwing any shade at Ace and Peter. That's not what's going on here. But by the way, if you're watching this, let me know in the comments. Does it matter to you? Are you like a fan of the new lineup? Do you like only like Die Hard original lineup only? Or I would love to hear your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below. But yeah, so at the very end of the show, did you see like the concert first? Though I was going to ask you.
Oh no, I didn't see the concert. I kind of forgot that it was last week, and then I didn't realize you could pay for to watch the stream.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how it's so. Your Kiss was the band that got you into rock. Meanwhile, I've had this on my calendar for like 2 weeks to watch this, and you didn't even know it was happening. That feels so twisted. That's like if they were doing a Michael Jackson special and like you like were counting the days and I had no idea what was happening. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I just think that's really funny. But basically, what happened is after the finale, so they played Rock and Roll All Night. And they walked off stage, and then God Gave Rock and Roll to You started playing, which, by the way, is probably my favorite Kiss song.
It's such a good song.
That
so powerful.
But I love that song. It's so great. It's the intro with the guys. It's fantastic. But oh my God. We should just spend the whole episode just like singing through Kiss songs. I'm sorry. It was just that's something I would do. That was that was a Nick thing to do. And I'm not going to call you Nick like last week. Don't get worried. We're not going to get into that again. I'm alert this time. But yeah, basically what happened. This is what happens on this show. I stumble and it takes me 5 minutes to make a basic, very simple point. So I'm going to try to just barrel through the rest of this, if I can try. Basically, what happened is this like screen came on, and it was like animated versions of Kiss, and basically they were like Gene was like shooting like fire and Paul was flying, and it was like all the like and the drums like were in midair, and it was really cool.
Oh, that's trippy.
But I was like, what's going on here? And then at the end it flashes and it goes the new era begins or something, and I was just sitting there like, fucking Gene, this guy does this. He just can't quit.
No, they can't. Well, what do you expect? Yeah, they're businessmen at heart. I kind of figured they weren't gonna let Kiss completely die. Yeah,
I know. Well, I mean, the fact that this was their like fourth farewell tour or something like that. I mean, everybody thought they were just going to do the tour, but I knew they were getting up in age where it was like they're probably not going to do this again. I thought that, and this was my theory. I don't know what you. We talked about this on the show, I think, a while back. The last time we talked about Kiss, before we banned it from our vocabulary. do you remember we had the conversation about, like, I think we thought that they were gonna do a new iteration of Kiss.
Yeah, just a
and,
whole
like,
new
cast
lineup.
people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Which would have been dope as fuck. And I'm not ruling that out because Gene is just, if he sees another source of revenue, he's going to go for it. I mean, this is the man who invented the Kiss coffin and the Kiss condoms. Coming and going, right? But yeah, that. By the way, that's still a top 10 moment, like, for me, of this show. I don't know about you. That was one of the funniest things. And, but the best part was that I feel like, why am I always explaining things about Kiss to you?
That's a good
I feel
question.
like that's just what happens.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be your, like, top, like, childhood, like, influence band, and I'm always giving you a history lesson on them. It's hilarious.
I think
as
I know
fuck.
why. I think because
Okay.
they were like my band when I was like a kid. So I was shielded from a lot of the like extreme stuff by my parents. And by the time I like got an age to like know all that stuff, like I wasn't like diving too deep into Kiss history.
History.
Yeah, there you go.
God, they're such fucking great marketing experts. I would give anything to just be alone in a room with Gene for an hour and just pick his brain on marketing. Like,
For
that
real.
would be like the greatest experience ever. But yeah, no, their whole story is insane. If you don't know about it, first off, you should go sign. And this is what I'm getting at. So it says new era begins, and me and my dad are looking at each other, and we're like, "What?" We're like, we're like, "What is the hell does that even supposed to mean?" And then, just a quick side note here, you didn't see the concert, so after the concert, Gene goes backstage, right, and he's being interviewed by Allison Hagendorf, who I'm sure you're familiar with. You've seen.
Yeah.
No, so he's being interviewed by her, and he goes. So he seemed a little off the whole concert. I was like, he looks like uncomfortable, and I was like, me and my dad were just, oh, he's old, like it's showing that he can't do this anymore, right? So he goes, by the way, he goes, I've been trying to pass a kidney stone all day.
Oh my gosh.
He said, and and he goes right into the microphone and he goes, it's burning the tip of my cock.
Gene thing to do.
He goes, my schmeckle's on fire. Wait, I want to keep in mind that millions of people are viewing this at home. There's probably children watching, and she does not give a fuck. So
Dude,
funny.
They are true rock stars. Like,
oh yeah, in the realest sense of the word. But it's just so fascinating to me. Like, he doesn't give it. It was the most awkward, random thing ever. Like, it was one of the most awkward interviews I've ever seen with Gene ever. It's probably because he's like he's like just like in so much pain.
Yeah. No, I saw so many clips on like TikTok of like it looked like Gene was crying at like while playing, right? And people thought that he was sad. Nope, just passing a kidney stone while.
I mean, when it feels like your dick is being burned, that'll do it.
That does not sound like a pleasant experience.
No, it doesn't.
Moving on.
We're going away from that. Kiss fans are gonna wait. I'm about to say something. I'm not apologizing for. Kiss fans are going to lick this up. Just all of this. You're welcome. See, I'm learning a thing or two from Gene.
Nice.
You know, it's all about branding, brand consistency.
Yes.
Always plugging. I'm starting to pick it up. But basically, so I'm like, what the hell's going on? So the next day, I woke up, and then I see that Kiss posted about this, and then I went to kissonline.com, which is their official website, and you should go do this too. And it says, you know what? I'm going to pull it up right now, so I could just read it to you.
Oh, wait. Oh.
because I'm not going to be able to. So I go to kiss.com, and there's this like 26 video a second video, which is the video they played at the concert.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets get access to the new era, and this is enter your email address to register. So I signed up, right?
Yeah.
And I go through, and then there's the new era begins. Kiss have been immortalized and reborn as avatars so they can rock forever.
That's so trippy. Like
The Kiss
so
avatars were
like...
created. Wait, I want to get
Yeah.
this real quick.
Uh-huh.
So he goes, the Kiss avatars were created by visual effects company Industrial Light and Magic using their advanced performance capture technology, gathering every nuance of every Kiss member's face and body performance in exact detail to be replicated, bringing about a new era of Kiss. And then at the bottom of the website, it says, get your digital token, which is basically like an NFT. Add your token to your Apple Wallet for future exclusive benefits. So now I have a Kiss token in my Apple Wallet. And there's some really cool, interesting things. There's like a video on there of like, I'm sure you've seen them before, like when they make videos of video games and they have like for like NFL games or like whatever, they have them like wear those suits, like the dots on their face.
The suits, the so dots and everything. Like they did that with Metallica for Guitar Hero and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they were doing that with Kiss, but like super in depth, because now they're not just using all the image capturing and all that stuff. They're also utilizing AI.
Oh, that's cool. So it's gonna be AI is gonna be performing live shows of
your
Kiss.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. This is not what I'm sure about. So after that video, there's like a 32-minute. I recommend you watch this, Jonah. It's fascinating because they were talking all about their beginnings and how they got to this point in their 50 years, and it was really cool. But they're having a conversation. It was Paul and Gene, and then the people, the head creators of the tech end of it, of what they're doing. And it was so fascinating to watch. But basically, what they were saying in the video, and this is not what I have one of two theories, and then I want to get your thoughts on this. My two theories are, number one, it's going to be virtual reality, because every year those, like, I'm sure you see those, the Oculus or like the MetaQuest, like you've seen these headsets before.
Yeah.
They I think that Meta just put out a new one that's like super advanced or something. Like it's like it has like it's like more like it's not just like the hands and it's like for like full. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I don't know if it's like it's not like a full body thing, but it's supposed to like be like way more realistic and like capture way more. And this is the direction that the world is going in. I'm just gonna say that. And we could have a conversation about that after this on here. But basically, my two theories, I never get to a point. My two theories here are, number one, there's going to be a virtual reality concert where like you have to wear the goggles and then it feels like you're submerged into that world. Or number two, it's going to be a live tour with CGI animated AI Kiss. So I don't know which one it's going to be, because they were saying things about like having a one-on-one audience interaction. Like I don't know what the deal is going to be. I would love to get your thoughts on this, because this is fascinating, because this comes after a week of me really studying a lot about AI, and I want to get into that once I really, before any of that, I would love to know what you're thinking about this.
Yeah. So those are two really interesting theories. Yeah, because what my first thoughts are when I heard like they made avatars, right? When I saw the trailer, was I thinking like they were just gonna have people in those bodysuits, kind of just like pretending to play like Gene and Paul and like doing like a live stream like that. So I was like. So kind of like a merge of the two ideas that we had like early on.
So your thought here, if I'm getting this straight, is that there's going to be a virtual reality concert where people will actually be performing, but the AI will be making you think that it's them. Like it'll be like Paul and Gene, but it's not them. It'll just be any old person.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking originally, but like I had no idea like what the heck was going on. I think that your VR theory is pretty on point though, because there's been more and more concerts and like things trying to go towards VR and into the metaverse.
What?
And
It's crazy.
yeah,
The whole thing is nuts. Wasn't there a thing like it was like 2 years ago? Something like they had Lemmy perform in the metaverse or something.
I don't know about that one, but I know like a year ago there was this big like a ton of artists held concerts in the metaverse on this one day. I know Ozzy was part of it.
Yeah, I know that was it, and they had.
Is that it?
But the thing about it was that they had Motorhead perform, and Lemmy's been dead for.
Yeah. Oh wow! I didn't. That's trippy.
Yeah. The craziest part about it, and this is the thing that it's so fascinating. I tend to find that I don't believe in coincidences because there's been too many times in my life where with many different people, circumstances, groups, or different things that I'm a part of that have nothing to do with each other, that the same topics or themes keep coming up. I don't know if you've experienced this in your life.
Yeah, I've experienced it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but the theme of AI and the future of every industry has been coming up a lot this week, and then Kiss has set that over the edge. What I keep reading into, and because it's all started for me, ChatGPT's 1-year birthday was like a week ago, or something like that. And any Kiss fans watching, this ties into what we're talking about, so keep in. Basically, what everybody's talking about is, I think everybody's talking about there's going to be it's expected to be early next year, an update to ChatGPT, which is like light years ahead of the one that's been out. Here's my theory. I think the technology is way more advanced than they've given us. I think they're giving us a drop of what it's actually capable of. And it's fascinating. Everybody's moving towards AI, every industry. And I saw this really fascinating presentation after that. I got an ad, and then I ended up going through and watching it, and it made total sense. And this ties into what Kiss is doing now. And I just want to say real quick, Kiss has always been ahead of the curve. Gene has always picked up on trends before they've happened. He's had a way of doing that, and it's unlike anybody I've ever seen in my life. In the 70s, they were putting on makeup on stage when that was not a cool thing to do, and then everybody did that shit in the 80s. Everybody did that shit in the 80s. And then what did they do in the 80s? They took their makeup off. And what happened in the 90s?
Yeah, everyone was like anti that.
Exactly. And then they went back to the makeup, and then the emo thing came out, and then everybody was wearing the eyeliner and the big. It's just really funny how and there's been several other things throughout the years too. If you look into it, they were early adapters of the internet and utilized because they're always looking at how do they become a forefront and a leader in the industry always, and I think that's how they're always able to get on top of trends like 5-10 years ahead of everybody else. They really are pioneers. Whether you love Kiss, whether you hate them, you have to admit that they are genius marketers, especially Gene.
Marketers.
He knows what the hell he's doing, because they're one of the biggest things ever. They're like a handful of bands that have lasted this long and have continued to have the same cultural impact. Like if you don't know Gene, Paul, any of their songs, you know the makeup.
Yeah,
you know the branding, you know the logo.
Yeah, you know the logo, you know the name, you know what Kiss is, even if you don't know they're a band. You've seen it somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I remember being. You know what the funniest thing is? I remember that Adam Lambert performance and seeing that for the first time, like we were talking about when he performed with Kiss.
Yeah.
And This is just a huge episode of season 1 callbacks. Like, that's what happens when we
For
talk
real.
about Kiss. It brings nostalgia in. But I think it's funny. I remember being like 3 or 4 years old, and the question wasn't, who are those guys? I've never seen them before. It was like, I've seen this before. Where have I seen this before? It's almost like you're born knowing what Kiss is. That's how great at marketing they are.
It was just ingrained
they
in
are
us
that
at this
good
point.
at it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and it's crazy.
Oh
a
my
lot
God,
of
yeah.
I feel like a lot of bands like like you said, there's just a handful of them that market that well, and it's funny that not a ton of the other bands haven't picked up on what Kiss has done.
Yeah. You know what it is? I think to be a strong figure, and then this is going to get into my AI point. I was just going off on a side thing here because obviously I love Kiss. But whether you hate them or love them, I think this is something that they've accepted too. I think a lot of people have a hard time accepting. Everybody wants to be liked, everything. But I think they have really known throughout all the years that it really is about being polarizing is way more powerful. And really taking a stance on something is way more powerful than playing it safe. And they're proof of that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. But basically what I was getting at with the AI is I fell into this thing. It's this guy, Eric Fry. Now, he's like one of the top – this is like totally different. He's one of the top Wall Street investors like of all time. Like his track record's insane. The amount of stocks that he's recommended and had his clients buy into. And then he predicted the .com – the internet boom in the 90s and the .com burst and the housing market crash and all these things throughout the years. And he was talking about AI and ChatGPT and how it's going to change everything and the landscape. And I'm not getting into political stuff here because it ties into what's happening here. I want people to understand the severity of AI because 5 years ago that sounded like a bunch of science fiction and this is stuff you would see in movies. And meanwhile, 5 years from now, looking back at the way we're living right now, it's probably going to look very barbaric.
Like caveman. Yeah.
The way that we're getting is it's really crazy. And the things that he was talking about is, I'm not sure if you saw, cats' life expectancy just doubled because they used AI for testing and trial and error medicines to develop the number one killer in cats to cure it. So they just life expectancy just went from 15 to 30 years.
Wow.
And you have other companies using for medicine. There's an AI that is like it uses AI to like release insulin into type 1 diabetes patients and like some crazy stuff that AI is being able to do. And you're seeing it already with self-driving cars and robots learning how to move things and manufacture things. And it's going to because just like the Industrial Revolution, it's going to eliminate so many jobs. Now, here's the difference. Here's the difference of what happened in the Industrial Revolution as to what happened now. In the Industrial Revolution, it eliminated a lot of jobs, but a lot of new jobs were created. So if you learn new skill sets, you could just get another job.
Mm-hmm.
The difference here is that the AI and robots are going to be doing the work. So there's no need for a human because it's going to be way more efficient, way quicker. Because think about it. When they're doing scientific tests, medications, treatments, cures for diseases are going to become through so much easier because trial and error is seconds for an AI as opposed to days, weeks, months, years for people.
Yeah. That's crazy. I did not realize how like how crazy like how quickly AI is being incorporated to everything.
You remember where we were a year ago when ChatGPT came out? Everybody was making fun of it.
Yeah.
That it was dumb. It was probably People didn't realize AI has been around for years. If you use facial recognition to open your phone, that's AI.
Yeah.
It's processing you, and it's able to pick up on that. It's so fascinating to me how so many people don't understand. And this is the same thing that happened with the internet. I mean, people thought of computers in the 90s and they were thinking of like stuff like NASA was using. Like no one, or you know, like even in the 80s, like because they had like computers, but these were like they look like Braille. You know, like the little boxes with like you've seen the 80s computers before.
Yeah.
Like the thought of the internet and like that seemed like science fiction. You know. But it's so fascinating how you move forward. It's like 50 years ago, like you went to Disney World and you saw I forget the carousel of progress where the room spins and it shows you like how things have moved along and like have continued to like get more advanced in society throughout the years. And then there's one at the end that depicts the future. And I saw this lady was saying, she said, I was a kid and I saw someone was talking to someone through a screen. And I said, that'll never happen in my lifetime. So people our age saying that these self-driving vehicles, and think about it, truck drivers are going to be out of business because they don't need to sleep and eat, and they could just keep driving.
Yeah.
And deliveries, and there's going to be so many jobs, and I'm not getting political here, but it's probably the wealth gap is probably going to split so much because there's going to be so many people out of work and they're not going to be involved in what's happening with the new technology, and there's going to be no source of income from them. So it's going to be middle class is just going to split. It's going to be poor and rich, and that's scary to think of. And I don't want to get too into that. This is a reality that's happening, and how this ties back into Kiss is, and I know this sounds random, it has nothing, but it has everything to do with them, because what they're doing right now is they're recognizing what's happening and where we're moving forward with virtual reality, with AI, with robots, with generated experiences. And this is where everyone, especially our generation, is heading towards, is encouraging, continuing to develop by being a part of it and using it. And we're basically the beta testers, and we're basically the hamsters of this thing, because right now ChatGPT, us using it is helping it get better and smarter and develop. And that's scary, because the last thing we want is for AI to become smarter than humans, because that's when annihilation is inevitable. But nevertheless, but not moving away from that, by developing it, we're moving forward, and that is what KISS is being a part of. So when this thing, again, 3-5, this is not far off in the future. I mean, it could be 2 years, but I'm being kind by saying 5 years. But 5 years from now, because I think that's when we'll have all the kinks worked out, KISS is going to be fully integrated. They've learned, and while everybody else is just hopping onto this trend, they're going to be on top of it and at the peak of it. They're going to pioneer a generation moving forward
of a whole new thing, which is crazy.
And that's what's happening. Now, I never owned a VR headset. I never ever really was involved in any of this sort of stuff. But over the last couple months, I'm recognizing that this is where the world is going, and I'm getting very much involved with just being involved in the development of all of this stuff and incorporating it into my business and into how I'm going to operate moving forward, because that's how everyone's going to be. And if I'm one of the first people doing that,
then you're going to be ahead of the curve.
The benefits of that, because I already have everything set up and I understand how it works. Because I want to be on the right side of this, because when that wealth gap does happen, I want to be on the rich side of it and not the welfare side of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, not getting to, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that. If you disagree with me about the likelihood of all of this, if it makes sense, if you have any opinions about that, but I would love to close on that and just your thoughts on, a little fun at the end about KISS.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree with you, and it's crazy that, because I feel like, especially when ChatGPT came out, there was a lot of pushback by a lot of people, but now that ever since people started messing around with AI, there's no taking it back. It's just going to get farther and farther. It's going to evolve more and more. It's going to become more and more integrated into our society, and there's going to be a lot of benefits, but there's going to be a lot of changes as well. And yeah, I agree with what you said. There's going to be a lot of jobs that AI is going to do, and then us people are going to lose a lot of jobs. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years. I feel.
That's true. And even the music industry, I mean, even if you're on a creative side, and this is what the actor strike was all about, because they've been using AI and writers and all this kind of stuff. But think about this. If they're able to once they collect enough data and this stuff is more, what happens when they're able to generate new voices, and they're already able to create characters and images
new
using
characters
AI
and stuff.
So and they can already emulate other people's voices. So what happens when they're able to create a new voice, a new person, a new artistic identity, and then they could just and then these AI people look realistic, and you're able to go to these kind of concerts, or it's VR or whatever it is, and it's able to create all the music itself, lyrics, melodies, instrumentals, like no one say
it's scary. Yeah,
it's basically we're just creating high 100x times more efficient human beings at a certain level, at a certain point. Because once the AIs start communicating with each other and learning from each other and teaching each other stuff, that's when they're going to get smarter than us, and that's when we have to start.
That's when we have Terminator.
It's just a real thing. Yeah. Haven't people watched enough movies to know that we should be unplugging these things?
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought at the beginning, but we'll see in a couple of years when Skynet goes online.
Yeah. I'm serious though. For me, it's inevitable. So if I don't want to be on the wrong side of it, I might as well. If it's gonna happen anyway, like you can't fight something this big. This is a global thing that's already happening. It's like might as well be on the right side.
Might as well join it. Yeah, learn more about it.
So when they eliminate people, you're one of the people they want to keep around.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely is that's the right way to go about it.
Oh yeah, but that was our Kiss and AI discussion. I feel like that's a good point. I mean, unless you have anything else, I feel like that's a nice place.
Good point. If you guys have any ideas of like what you think the future of the music industry is with this AI stuff, let us know down in the comments. Love to get your guys' takes on this.
Yes, definitely. And I'd also love to know your theories on what exactly it is Kiss is doing. And, just in general, your love of Kiss and what you thought of everything and where everything is going. But yeah, I'm going to let everybody sit on that until next week. So until next time, my name is Nick Valley.
My name is Jonah Doc, and
this is Rev Rock Revolution. What was that delay?
I don't know. I said where, and then it took like 5 seconds for you to start saying it for me.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with us today. Bye.